Hello and welcome to the Raising Killin podcast. My name is Marsh Naidu and I blog at raisingkillin.org where we curate resources for families experiencing disabilities. On today's episode 148, I chat with Kate Mudge. Kate is the co-director of the Care Farming Network. As always, remember the content on this podcast is for your information only. And if you seek advice for your specific situation, to contact a trained professional. So grab your cup of coffee, put your feet up, and get ready for some awesome conversation. I am joined this morning by Kate Mudge. Kate is the co-director of the Care Farming Network. This is a member-based network pioneering a movement and growing a community of care farms across the United States. Kate, welcome to the Raising Killin podcast.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Kate, where exactly are you located at? Tell us a little bit about the lay of the land where you're at.
Sure. Well, I actually work remotely. I live in west central Minnesota on a 40-acre hobby farm. We are surrounded by lakes and prairies and rolling hills in Otter Tail County.
It's beautiful. What exactly is a care farm all about?
Wonderful. I'm glad that you started our conversation asking about that. To put it broadly, care farming uses what we call therapeutic farming to promote health and well-being and belonging. So a care farm is like a structured, meaningful experience often taking place on a farm. Those farms can be in rural areas, in suburban areas, in urban areas. But one thing we like to note about care farms is they're really intentional, meaningful experiences for people with diverse needs to find healing, belonging, and community. So often a specific population of people are served. That could be adults or children with disabilities. We see care farms serving veterans, trauma survivors, people in recovery, seniors with dementia, very wide, diverse groups of folks who are working, volunteering, or living on care farms.
How did this idea come about?
Sure. So Care Farming Network is actually a program of Red Wiggler Care Farm, and they are located in Montgomery County, Maryland. And Red Wiggler is a nonprofit farm. They have 12 acres, and their mission is to create fertile ground to nourish a healthy and inclusive community. They have been around since 1996, and the founder is named Woody Woodruff. And he tells a great origin story that maybe I can direct people to, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it justice. But essentially, Red Wiggler serves people with and without disabilities. They're known as growers and volunteers to grow vegetables using sustainable practices. And he's been doing this for 30 years. And they have a CSA and an education program, really neat place. But essentially, Woody was receiving a lot of inquiries from people who were operating farms, sort of doing the same type of thing, or interested in starting their own farm. It might be working with the same population of folks with intellectual developmental disabilities. It could be a different population. But what he realized, and others, including the co-director, the other co-director of Care Farming Network, Andrea Barnhart, who spent 10 years there as farm manager at Red Wiggler, was that there wasn't a network that helped connect people who were both, doing farming as well as kind of serving a mission. And the same questions were asked and the same connections needed to be made. And they thought, hey, What we really need is this care farming network. I'll just back up and say that you see care farm networks in existence, well funded, and lots of awareness around care farms in Western Europe, Western and Northern Europe. You can see them in the UK and Italy, the Dutch Federation of Care Farms. And so there's a number of reasons why we exist, but that's kind of how we exist. In 2021, we had our official launch, although there had been some meetings and gatherings and conference presentations around care farms, but Red Wiggler Care Farm decided to invest and create this support network.
That's actually how I got to find out about the work that's done through the Care Farming Network.
Yeah, we just had our very first conference in January of this year. It was in Amherst, Massachusetts. And yeah.
What are the plans for next year?
Absolutely. We're going to have another national conference in February 2026. Right now it's going to be, we haven't announced the specific location yet, but it will be in the greater DC area, February 9th through 11th. And we hope to bring it back. Last year was such a phenomenal success. We had over 170 attendees from 26 different states, including a guest from Canada.
Oh.
And it was 2.5 days of, we had farm tours at ServiceNet's Prospect Meadow, which is a care farm there in Massachusetts, that kicked things off for us with the most delightful opening, kind of welcoming reception on Monday. So we're going to also host that at Red Wiggler Care Farm this year. And then it will be programming for the next day and a half with breakout sessions and presenters and panel discussions, all keeping this, improving on last year, but also just providing a space for people who are doing this work to connect. Because that is our main goal, is a network. This can be really isolating work. It can be really hard work. Farming in general, we all know how hard it is. Then you add on top of that you're providing services for people. The margins are really thin. Like, how you do this is all wide open and, again, really diverse. So we look forward to the conference as a place for both people who were thinking and just interested in care farming to attend. It's what we call aspiring care farmers, but also more established care farmers who have been doing this work for some time and need to kind of bounce ideas and challenges and thoughts off each other in person and in a shared space. So.
Hey, okay, so I'm in Tennessee. Are you familiar perhaps with a farm or two that might be in your network that's in Tennessee? We mentioned Plan for a Change, but I'm thinking more of a farm itself. And
yeah, one that comes to mind is Old School Farm, based out of Nashville. They provide employment on their farm for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Attended our conference last year, made some good connections. One thing I'll say is if anybody wants to find a care farm near them, I'm going to plug our website a number of times. One of the things that we're most kind of excited about is that we have this interactive directory and map on our website. So you can go on, click on Find a Care Farm. We started with, I think, 16 care farms being listed. I was just adding another one this morning. We're up to 338 farms across the country, and we know they're not all listed. So, but yeah, you can filter your search by location, like where you live, but you can also filter by the type of farming operation that they have. So that could be livestock, or it could be vegetable or flower farm. Don't want to forget hydroponics, aquaponics. You can also filter by the population served. So if you're specifically looking for care farms that are serving people, say seniors with dementia, or trauma survivors, or, you name it, you can kind of dig down into all of our listings. And then that will bring up the directory. So you can read about the farm, you can get in touch with them, you can explore their website, and just really see the incredible diversity that exists throughout our country.
That website, can I please have the address?
It's an easy one to remember. It's carefarmingnetwork.org.
We live in a very rural area, and agriculture is a strong part of the economy. Would this perhaps be a way for a farmer that's interested in maybe establishing a different source of revenue thing, or is it more like a mission-based way to look?
We have what we kind of refer to as different models of care farms, and this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Okay. So you asked specifically, could a farmer develop a care farm? They could. They could also have a program, a care farming program. So they could be more of a traditional farmer, but if they have a program that would say offer employment opportunities to somebody, that could certainly be an option. We also have care farms that are models for residential living. So people are living on site and doing that work. It might be a inpatient drug and alcohol treatment center. We see care farms for people who are providing residence for women who are recently released from prison and still involved in the justice system. So there's that kind of model, and there's also homestead care farms. So might be a little bit of a smaller model, but that could just be a parent of, for example, an adult who's aged out of receiving services through school, and they have an intellectual disability. We see parents starting things like flower farms, and these are businesses, businesses where their adult child can really thrive in smaller operations, but running something like that. We also see social service agencies having a program of care farming. So I mentioned before ServiceNet in Massachusetts, they have a care farming program at Prospect Meadow Farms, which actually is multiple sites. And their clients who live in group homes can be employed at the farm. They do this really neat thing around growing shiitake mushrooms on logs. That's one of their operations. Yeah. So we are getting interest and inquiries from social service agencies that will have, again, a care farm program. Then we see care farms that are doing, you have mental health therapists who are moving out of their clinical practice, out of an office and onto a farm. So you see a lot of integration with animal-assisted intervention. I think of like equine therapy, yes. Or just working with animals for a therapeutic kind of healing benefit. So lots of different, really neat things happening out there.
What a fantastic way to serve. It's an amazing idea, Kate. And thank you so much for the work that you do, both you and Andrea, in keeping the network itself going. You guys have a monthly office hour. You'll have an amazing newsletter. Tell us perhaps ways that listeners can connect with you all besides the website. Are there any other avenues to connect with the Care Farming Network?
Absolutely. And just to back up really quick, point out that care farming is really gaining traction. It's happening fast. And we see colleges like Warren Wilson out of North Carolina. They actually have classes now taught by a professor about care farming. And they tour care farms in their region. And they travel overseas to the Netherlands and visit care farms there. And we're also seeing more and more people in academia doing research around the benefits of care farming, because we didn't touch a lot on that. I mean, the benefits of care farming and just sort of nature-based care are so many. So again, you can find all that on our website, but I did want to just note that we really do see a need for additional research, some of which we are doing ourselves in partnership with academics, to show the benefits and like quantify and qualify the work, and the results that these care farms are seeing with those that they're serving. In terms of how people can get engaged, we have the national conference. We do have what we call a monthly member gathering. You can always join for free. Those are virtual, and you can find them on our events page. And as you also noted, we have what's called open office hour. That happens once a month. That's an opportunity for people just to drop in. Andrea and I and our coworker, Sarah, are hanging out in a Zoom room, answering questions. Sometimes people are just dropping in to say hi and learn more about what we're doing, or they're calling or coming in with a question. So we have those once a month. Now that it's summer, we have care farm tours being scheduled. Andrea was just down in North Carolina doing a farm tour at a beautiful farm called Blossom. And then we'll be up in New York. Homesteads for Hope is going to have a farm tour, and then there will be a care farm tour at Red Wiggler. I'd be remiss if I didn't also say some of our programming. We have a mentorship program. This is the first year that we've had that, where we have 7 aspiring or beginning care farmers who we've matched with people with a lot of knowledge in the field. Kind of more established care farms. So we're coming about halfway through the year with that mentorship, but there's going to be applications for people opening later this year. And then we also offer an online resource library, totally free to use. If you have questions like about how do I start a care farm? Well, we did a 2 years worth, so 7 different sessions right now on beginning care farming. And then we also do professional consultations. Sometimes those are pro bono, sometimes those are paid, but that's where we work real one-on-one with people who might have very specific questions about where they're at in their care farming journey. So
Kate, let me just quickly ask as we end off the podcast, what is the big dream, or what do you guys envision for the future as far as the care farming network?
Well, we are here to grow awareness about care farming. We believe it's transformative. We believe that care farmers are pioneers. And really what we want to see is a care farm in every county in the U.S. Right now, we have over 300 care farms, but there's over 3,000 counties. So we're 10% of the way there. But yes, it's a bold and ambitious goal of a care farm in every county.
Kate, thank you so much for taking the time to let our listeners know more about the Care Farming Network. And I will definitely, the link to the website will be added to the show notes. And just wishing you all the very best, and can't wait to see how this network flourishes, and thank you for the work y'all do.
Thank you. I will look for anyone wanting to subscribe to the newsletter. It's as easy as a click on our website too, so stay in touch with us that way.
Kate, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening along today. As always, we would appreciate a rate and review of this episode on your podcast platform. We will be taking the next 2 weeks off to enjoy the remainder of our summer vacation, and we'll be coming back with some awesome news of a new event that we will be hosting here in Dyersburg, Tennessee. To keep you company over the next 2 weeks, why not go back in our in-depth podcast catalog, especially look at episode 132, which was the interview with Nathan Fields from Plant for a Change here in Nashville, Tennessee. And actually that podcast episode with Nathan gave seed to today's episode with Kate from the Care Farming Network. As always, remember, get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidu signing off.